The hangover cure industry generates approximately $3 billion per year, selling products that address the symptoms of alcohol's biological effects while largely ignoring the mechanisms that produce those symptoms. Blowfish, Liquid IV, Pedialyte, Morning Recovery, Flyby. These products are marketed with varying degrees of scientific language and varying degrees of accuracy. Some of them work, partially for some symptoms, in some people. None of them work significantly better than a combination of water, electrolytes, fructose, and thyme that any household can assemble from pantry and grocery store ingredients for essentially zero incremental cost. The reason the expensive products exist is not that they contain superior chemistry. It is that the mechanisms of a hangover are poorly understood by most people, and the marketing for hangover cure products exploits this gap systematically. When you understand what alcohol actually does to your body at the biochemical level, the appropriate response becomes obvious, and the $3 billion product category becomes largely unnecessary. This is the story of what a hangover actually is, why each symptom has a specific biochemical cause, and what addresses each of those causes with the most direct and least expensive intervention available. Alcohol, ethanol, is metabolized by the liver through a two-step enzymatic process. First, alcohol dehydrogenase converts ethanol to acetaldehyde. Then, aldehyde dehydrogenase converts acetaldehyde to acetate, which is further metabolized to carbon dioxide and water. The rate-limiting step is the first conversion. Alcohol dehydrogenase can only process approximately 1 standard drink's worth of ethanol per hour, regardless of body weight, fitness, or any supplement taken before or after drinking. This metabolic rate is fixed. No supplement accelerates it meaningfully. No food, vitamin, or herbal compound causes alcohol to be processed faster than the enzymatic machinery allows. The marketing language around liver support supplements, milk thistle, N-acetylcysteine, dihydromerictin, is not supported by evidence of meaningful acceleration of ethanol metabolism in humans at realistic doses. The liver processes alcohol at its fixed rate. Time is the only variable that determines when this process completes. Acetaldehyde, the intermediate compound produced during ethanol metabolism, is significantly more toxic than ethanol itself. It is responsible for several of the most unpleasant hangover symptoms, including flushing, nausea, and elevated heart rate. In people who carry genetic variants of aldehyde dehydrogenase that make the enzyme less efficient, common in East Asian populations, acetaldehyde accumulates to higher levels, and these symptoms are more severe. The accumulation of acetaldehyde during and after drinking, before the liver completes its conversion to acetate, is one component of hangover symptomatology, but acetaldehyde toxicity is not the primary mechanism of the hangover experience for most people. The primary mechanism is dehydration, specifically the dehydration produced by alcohol's suppression of antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone, ADH, also called vasopressin, is the hormone that regulates water reabsorption in the kidneys. Under normal conditions, ADH signals the kidneys to reabsorb water from the urine being formed, concentrating the urine and retaining fluid in the body. This is the mechanism that prevents continuous fluid loss through urination under normal hydration conditions. Alcohol suppresses ADH secretion. With ADH suppressed, the kidneys lose their signal to reabsorb water. Urine output increases dramatically. Studies have measured that for every gram of alcohol consumed, urine output increases by approximately 10 milliliters beyond what would be produced without alcohol. Over the course of an evening of moderate drinking, consuming 50 to 60 grams of alcohol, this represents approximately 500 to 600 milliliters of excess fluid loss. Heavy drinking produces correspondingly greater dehydration. This dehydration is the primary driver of the most characteristic hangover symptoms. Headache. The headache of a hangover is partly a tension headache produced by dehydration-induced reduction in brain volume, which creates traction on the meninges. Fatigue and cognitive impairment. Dehydration reduces blood volume and impairs circulatory efficiency, reducing oxygen and glucose delivery to the brain. Dry mouth and thirst, direct consequences of fluid depletion. Dizziness, both from dehydration and from the electrolyte imbalances that accompany it. The electrolyte loss is the component that makes simple water rehydration inadequate for rapid hangover resolution. The excess urination produced by ADH suppression does not only eliminate water, it eliminates the electrolytes dissolved in that urine. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride are all lost at elevated rates during alcohol-induced diuresis. These electrolytes are essential for cellular function, nerve conduction, and fluid balance. Replacing water without replacing electrolytes produces a state of hyponatremia, low sodium, that can actually worsen symptoms by diluting the remaining electrolytes in the blood. Effective rehydration requires water and electrolytes together, the combination that allows the body to retain the fluid being consumed rather than excreting it rapidly. Fructose is the second component of effective hangover management, and it addresses a different mechanism entirely, the disruption of glucose metabolism that alcohol produces. Alcohol metabolism competes with glucose metabolism for the same enzymatic and cofactor resources in the liver. As the liver devotes its metabolic capacity to processing ethanol, gluconeogenesis, the production of glucose from non-glucose precursors, is suppressed. Blood glucose falls. The hypoglycemia that results contributes to fatigue, weakness, irritability, and the cognitive impairment of a hangover independently of the dehydration effects. Fructose addresses this through two mechanisms. First, it provides a direct carbohydrate energy source that bypasses the enzymatic competition with alcohol metabolism. Fructose is metabolized through a different pathway than glucose and does not face the same suppression. Second, fructose increases the rate of acetaldehyde clearance. Research has shown that fructose administration increases the oxidation rate of acetaldehyde by the liver, reducing the duration of acetaldehyde accumulation and its associated symptoms. The research on fructose and hangover is not new. Studies going back to the 1970s established that fructose administration after alcohol consumption reduces the duration and severity of intoxication and hangover symptoms. The mechanism, acceleration of acetaldehyde clearance and correction of hypoglycemia, is biochemically plausible and experimentally supported. The practical fructose source is fruit or fruit juice, orange juice, apple juice, honey, or any sugar-containing food with significant fructose content. A banana provides both fructose and potassium, one of the primary electrolytes lost during alcohol-induced diuresis. The combination of banana and water with a pinch of salt addresses fructose replacement, fluid replacement, and two of the primary electrolytes simultaneously. Now let's examine what the commercial hangover products actually contain and how they compare to the free alternative. Pedialyte, originally designed for pediatric rehydration and now heavily marketed for adult hangover recovery, contains water, dextrose, sodium, potassium, and chloride. This is an electrolyte solution. It works for hangover recovery for the same reason that any electrolyte solution works. It provides fluid and electrolytes to address the dehydration component of the hangover. The dextrose provides a carbohydrate energy source. It does not contain fructose and does not address the acetaldehyde component specifically. It costs approximately $1 to $2 per 8-ounce serving. The equivalent, a sports drink, a glass of water with a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of sugar or coconut water, provides comparable electrolyte rehydration at a fraction of the cost or at no incremental cost. Coconut water contains sodium, potassium, magnesium, and natural sugars in proportions similar to Pedialyte at comparable or lower cost per serving. Water with a quarter teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of honey provides electrolytes and fructose simultaneously at essentially zero incremental cost. Liquid IV, a powdered electrolyte supplement marketed aggressively on social media and in hangover recovery contexts, uses a formulation based on cellular transport theory, claiming that a specific ratio of sodium, glucose, and potassium improves hydration efficiency above standard electrolyte solutions. The cellular transport mechanism it references, sodium-glucose cotransport, is a real and established physiological process. The clinical evidence that the specific liquid IV formulation provides meaningful hydration superiority over standard oral rehydration solutions in the hangover context is not established. It costs approximately $2 to $3 per serving. Blowfish, an FDA-approved hangover remedy, contains aspirin and caffeine. Aspirin addresses headache through prostaglandin inhibition. Caffeine addresses fatigue through adenosine receptor antagonism and provides mild vasoconstriction that can reduce headache. These are symptomatic treatments. They address the perception of symptoms without addressing the underlying biochemical causes. The aspirin is the active component that produces measurable headache relief. It costs approximately $1 per tablet at pharmacy prices for generic aspirin. Blowfish costs approximately $4 to $6 per dose for the same active ingredient with caffeine added. The practical hangover management protocol that addresses the underlying mechanisms is assembled from standard household and grocery store items. Before sleep after drinking, or as soon as waking, drink 16 to 32 ounces of water with electrolytes. The simplest electrolyte formulation is a quarter teaspoon of salt per liter of water plus a tablespoon of honey or a glass of fruit juice. This provides sodium, some potassium, and fructose simultaneously. Coconut water, if available, provides a more complete electrolyte profile including magnesium without requiring any preparation. Eat a banana or other fructose-containing food. The banana provides potassium, one of the most depleted electrolytes, and fructose for acetaldehyde clearance and glucose restoration. If nausea prevents eating, ginger tea addresses nausea through serotonin receptor modulation before other food is possible. If headache is present, standard aspirin or ibuprofen addresses it directly. Ibuprofen is preferable to acetaminophen, Tylenol, in the hangover context, because acetaminophen metabolism competes with the same liver pathways as alcohol metabolism and can produce liver toxicity at doses that are safe under normal conditions when combined with alcohol and hangover-related liver stress. Caffeine, from coffee or tea, addresses fatigue and may reduce headache through vasoconstriction. It does not accelerate alcohol metabolism. Time completes the process. The enzymatic machinery processes the remaining ethanol and acetaldehyde at its fixed rate. The above interventions address the dehydration, electrolyte, and glucose components, the components that time alone does not address efficiently. The total cost of this protocol, salt, water, honey or juice, banana, aspirin if needed, coffee, is approximately $1 or less from ingredients present in most households. The commercial hangover recovery products providing equivalent or lesser intervention cost $4 to $15 per use. Kind Cascade, addressing both headache and the inflammatory component of malaise simultaneously. This is why ibuprofen is more effective than aspirin for overall hangover symptom relief. The combination of ibuprofen, electrolytes, fructose, and time addresses all 4 primary hangover mechanisms through the most direct biochemical interventions available, at a total cost under $2. The hangover cure industry's most profitable belief is that hangovers cannot be prevented, only survived. Hangover severity is directly related to alcohol quantity and inversely related to hydration status. Consuming water alongside alcohol, 1 glass per drink, partially compensates for the ADH-suppressed fluid loss during drinking itself. Eating before and during drinking slows gastric emptying and reduces peak blood alcohol concentration, reducing both intoxication severity and acetaldehyde burden. Choosing drinks lower in congeners, the fermentation byproducts concentrated in darker spirits like whiskey and rum, reduces additional toxic load. Vodka and gin contain lower congener concentrations. The prevention protocol, water alongside drinks, food before and during, moderate pace, is free and produces better outcomes than any commercial intervention applied the morning after. The hangover cure industry has no financial interest in promoting prevention because a prevented hangover generates no product sales. Here is the complete synthesis. A hangover has 4 primary biochemical components. Dehydration from ADH suppression, addressed by water and electrolytes. Electrolyte depletion from elevated urinary output, addressed by sodium, potassium, and magnesium replacement. Hypoglycemia and acetaldehyde accumulation, addressed by fructose. Inflammatory cytokine response, addressed by ibuprofen. The free protocol, before sleep or upon waking, drink 500 milliliters of water with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of honey or fruit juice. Eat a banana. Take 200 to 400 milligrams of ibuprofen with food. Drink coffee if desired for caffeine's adenosine antagonism. Sleep if possible. Sleep accelerates recovery through mechanisms including growth hormone secretion and inflammatory resolution. Pedialyte provides electrolyte rehydration at $1 to $2 per serving, comparable to salt water with honey at near zero cost. Liquid IV provides the same at $2 to $3 per serving with marketing language that overstates the superiority of its specific formulation. Blowfish provides aspirin and caffeine at $4 to $6. Aspirin is available for under 10 cents per tablet, and caffeine is free in coffee. Morning Recovery and similar products add B vitamins and herbal extracts to electrolyte bases at $5 to $10 per bottle. The B vitamins address alcohol's partial depletion of B vitamin stores, which is a real mechanism, achievable with a standard B complex supplement at under 20 cents per dose. The $3 billion hangover cure industry is built on the gap between the biochemical reality of what a hangover is and the consumer's understanding of it. Close that gap with the mechanisms above, and the product category reduces to a convenience premium for people who prefer a branded bottle to salt, water, and a banana. That convenience has a price. The chemistry does not justify it. If this changed how you think about the hangover cure products at the pharmacy counter, hit the like button, share it with someone spending $15 on liquid IV every time they drink, and subscribe for more of what the industry prefers you never figure out. See you in the next